Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. First up today, a drive-through lane that turns into a full-scale spectacle when one customer decides the mobile order-only lane doesn't apply to her. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. Entitled woman thinks she owns the drive-through. I'm at ChickfilA the other day. At this location, they have two drive-through lanes, one for regular orders and one for mobile orders, where you skip the line if you use the app and scan a QR code. I always use the mobile lane because it's way faster. Well, not today. Enter Entitled Woman, EW. She cuts me off pulling into the lot, red flag number 1, but whatever. There's no one else in the mobile lane, so it's not a huge deal. I pull in behind her and immediately notice she's not holding a phone to scan a QR code like a normal person. Nope, she's sitting there waving at the attendants. Newsflash, nobody monitors the mobile lane. So naturally, she starts laying on the horn like a lunatic. An employee finally comes over. Before he's even at her car, she starts barking out her order. And not a short one. This woman orders like she's feeding an army. After ordering, she drives off without paying. The guy literally has to chase her down to get her payment. Then she pulls up to the window where I'm still stuck right behind her, despite having scanned my code and being ready to grab my food in seconds. The employee at the window asks her to pull around to one of the waiting spots. She refuses, saying, "No, it always takes longer if I pull around." The employee explains very patiently that pulling around won't delay her order, but will let them serve the people behind her whose food is ready. She responds, "It's not really fair to prepare their orders before mine when I was here first." The employee tries to explain how food stations work, but she interrupts, saying, "They should all be working on the first person's order. I know you just make minimum wage, but this really shouldn't be that hard to understand." After what feels like forever, the manager appears at the window. He leans out and very politely asks her to pull around, even promising to personally bring her food out as soon as it's ready. To top it off, he offers her a complimentary peppermint shake as an apology for the inconvenience. And what does she do? She knocks the shake out of his hand. It goes flying everywhere, on him, inside the window, total chaos. She even has the nerve to beep her horn at him. Finally, karma starts to take hold. A couple minutes later, two police officers walk around the front of the drive-through road, coming towards her. EW laughs at the manager, saying, "You really called the police?" The manager calmly responds, "No, ma'am. They were at the counter when I walked by covered in the shake you knocked over. They also heard your shouting and honking. I told them it was fine, but they wanted to check on the situation." At this point, the officers reached her car and told her if she doesn't pull forward and talk to them, they'll arrest her for assault and move the car themselves. She finally pulls around, but doesn't stop. She just speeds out of the parking lot. The police laughed. She has a very easy-to-remember vanity plate, and they told the manager that they're adding obstruction of justice for failing to comply with a lawful order when they track her down. Edit. Some people were confused about her not paying at first. What happened was she finished barking out her order and then just started to drive to the window. At this Chick-fil-A, you pay right with the person who takes your order, not at the window. Hopefully that makes it clear. I wonder if the Karens of the world ever actually get better service with that crap, or do they constantly screw up their own satisfaction? And our second story. I am not your personal shopper. This happened 5 years back in my local Tesco. Cast, me, old lady, OL, lovely, and my savior, miserable old trout, pensioner Karen, MOT. So at the time, I was working early shifts, meaning I got off at about 2 p.m. This day, I needed some stuff, so stopped on the way home. As I was trundling around with my basket, I kept bumping into the same old lady, as you do sometimes, and we exchanged hellos and hello-agains, etc., etc. Just nice, normal interaction. There were a couple of items she couldn't reach, so she asked if I wouldn't mind getting them down for her from various shelves. Me, no problem, here. Oh, well, oh, thank you so much. I always worry about those shelves. Me, happy to help. So eventually, we just end up going our separate ways, and I carried on shopping. Then the came. MOT, finally, I thought you'd ignore me forever. Me, pardon? MOT, ready to actually do your work now? Me, slowly dawning realization. MOT, right, I need you to get these things. I'm too tired. Me, Right, okay, so I don't actually work here? MOT, what? Yes, you do. You've been helping her for the last 15 minutes. Me, gesturing to my basket and pointing to the logo of the company I actually work for on my polo shirt. Nope, sorry, I'm just shopping here. MOT, well, it doesn't matter, boy. I was 25-ish at the time. You can still help me. Me, getting pissed off. No, I'm going to finish my shopping. Actually, so, MOT, no, you've been her personal shopper for the last 15 minutes, and now you're going to do it for me. Me, good luck with that. I'm not yours or anyone's personal shopper. I actually would have happily got the higher items if there were any and she'd asked as nicely as the OL, but I hate entitled people, and I hate entitled rude people even more, which just made me more determined she wouldn't get her way. With that, I began to walk away, but am swiftly dragged back by MOT. MOT, how dare you? You will do this. Enter original OL, who evidently has seen what's happened. OL, what do you think you're doing? That young man has been so helpful, and you're treating him like rubbish. This intervention by OL stopped MOT in her tracks. OL then whacks MOT with her handbag and proceeds to give her a dressing down in front of the crowd which is gathered. I'm just watching this play out in front of me, not knowing what to do. TBH, I was just glad it was OL who went for her rather than me having to get rid of MOT. OL, you can clearly see his own shopping. You can clearly see the shirt he's wearing. MOT, but, me, see, I don't work here, and I was helping this lady get the higher item she couldn't reach. MOT, blustering and stammering. Me, if you need help in the future, I might ask you to show some manners and common courtesy rather than acting entitled and spoiled. OL, exactly. Following this, the store management turned up and after a brief explanation from us, sent MOT on her way empty-handed after she huffed about customer service for a few minutes. Never saw MOT again, though, which was a proper bonus. Ever thankful for OL intervention, though? There's no way I was going to help MOT out, but OL made it significantly easier to ensure MOT got what was coming to her. What a nice old lady. Makes me happy that even when people are being absolute jerks, there are good people who help. Your good deed really got you some good karma from that old lady. And our last story. Told the neighbors I'd plant thorn bushes if their kids kept trespassing. They didn't listen. When I moved into this detached townhouse a few months ago, I was thrilled. It was a rental, but I had a 1-year lease with the option to extend or even buy. The place was perfect, quiet, tucked into a residential street, and I had a spacious driveway that could easily fit 2 regular cars. My side yard, about 3 meters wide, had a narrow path that ran between my house and the grass. That feeling of peaceful ownership lasted about a week. Almost immediately, the neighbors started treating my driveway like a community lot. First, it was their car parked halfway in, then a scooter, then their kids playing tag through my yard. They were even storing stuff, toys, trash bins, a broken patio chair on my side. I asked politely, then I asked again, and again, nothing changed. So I escalated. I placed large potted plants along the edge of my driveway, installed a security camera, posted a bright, bold, no trespassing sign. That got the cars to stop at least, but the kids, whole different story. 2 boys, probably 5 and 7, started ringing my doorbell multiple times a day. It was constant. Can we play with your dog? Will you come outside and play with us? Can we ride our bikes in your yard? At first I was nice, explained I worked from home, said I needed quiet. When they didn't stop, I went to their parents. Boys will be boys, their dad smirked. They're just being friendly. I was not amused. I removed the doorbell battery, but now they were banging on windows and doors instead, and one morning I caught them rattling my backyard gate because they heard me gardening. That was my last straw. I warned them directly, keep your kids away from my doors and windows. If this keeps up, they're not playing with the dog again, ever. Their father came storming over that evening, acting like I was the one overreacting. I told him flat out, keep your kids off my property or I'll plant thorny bushes to drive the message home. And then I shut the door in his face. 1 week later, I made good on that promise. I planted a thick, thorny hedge of blackberries and raspberries right along the edge of my yard, 30 centimeters inside the property line so no one could claim I was overstepping. Behind the berry bushes, I added strawberry and tomato plants. To reach those, someone would need to walk deep into my yard. Not a mistake, but a choice. Things stayed relatively calm. The kids were still on my driveway occasionally, but I didn't see them crossing into the yard anymore. For the first time, I felt like maybe this had worked. Then berry season arrived. First, it was the kids. I caught them red-handed picking raspberries and stuffing their faces. I marched them back to their door and told their mother if I caught them stealing again, I'd call the police. She laughed in my face. It's just fruit. Grow up. But she took the boys inside. I figured that was the end of it until yesterday. I'd been out running errands and returned home to a sight I will never forget. The father, both sons, standing knee-deep in my garden, plucking berries, yanking branches, stomping tomato vines flat like it was their personal pick-your-own farm. They hadn't seen me yet, so I called the police and began recording on my phone. 10 minutes later, 2 officers pulled up, just in time to catch them mid-harvest. The cops confronted them, told them they were trespassing, and explained that, yes, taking fruit from someone else's garden is theft. They asked if I wanted to press charges. For the first time, the neighbor looked rattled, pale, stammering, glancing nervously at his house as if hoping his wife would come rescue him with more of her self-righteous shouting. The kids looked terrified. The police walked them back to their door. I stayed on my side of the garden. Later, one of the officers came over to ask again if I wanted to press charges. I said no for now, but I showed them my footage and asked if I was allowed to install another camera facing the driveway and front yard. They confirmed I was within my rights. Before leaving, the officer added, "The husband seems scared straight, but the wife, she was still yelling inside, calling you a little bee." Charming. So now I've got an extra camera going up. The husband knows better now, and if any of them sets foot in my yard again, I won't hesitate to press charges. The time for warnings is over. I hate kids will be kids. If you don't teach them that their behavior isn't correct, they're going to keep being kids when they're 20 or 30. The fact that they're kids maybe means you're understanding and instructive rather than punishing. It means they're given the opportunity to learn, but it doesn't mean they should be allowed to continue. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.